the Drake Clipper, a ship that was teased long ago during the 2024 Citizencon with nothing more than a silhouette, and now we finally have it. A unique ship, as it's the first generalized ship, but it comes at a hefty cost of $135 war bond or $150 store credit. Truly a jack of all trades, but a master of none, although that quote continues on to say, but oftentimes better than a master of one. How well does the Drake Clipper hold to this? Let's take a look to see and determine how well it performs, especially given its hefty price tag. This video is going to be split up into 4 sections. We're going to start off by a quick intro and a look at the ship, the aesthetics, the performance, and a conclusion. There'll be chapters below, so if you prefer to get straight to what my conclusion is and what my thoughts are, feel free to go ahead and skip to that part. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to subscribe to my channel if you like my content and would like to see other videos from me in the future. The Drake Clipper is a small-ish generalist ship released during IAE in 2025. Two of the big selling points of the ship are that it includes a Tier 3 medical bed as well as a crafting station. As of the time of making this video, the crafting station does not function, and it's yet to be seen what that will fully entail in the future. The ship is made up of 3 levels, and you can choose to enter the ship either via the elevator to the 2nd level, or enter the cargo area via the ramp on the 1st level. The 2nd level of the ship is where you'll find the crafting bench, personal storage, the medical facility, as well as the large engine area at the rear that holds some components. The 3rd level is where you'll find the flight deck, full living quarters with small kitchen and bathroom. Further back, you'll find the engineering terminal as well as more component access, along with another great view of those rear engines. One interesting thing in the back here is that on the 3rd floor is a small hatch that opens to allow you to pass components up or down. If you're like me though, it also makes a great way to quickly drop down to that 2nd level. I don't think I really need to say a whole lot here, since just looking at this ship is either going to get someone excited or turn them off. Either you're going to be a big fan of the bucket of bolts style of ship that Drake is and love this, or you're gonna hate it. For me personally, I absolutely love everything about how this ship looks. The way the wings extend, how high up the pilot sits, and the fact that the ramp opens on the front of the ship. It checks all the boxes for me and what gets me excited for a spaceship. Not to mention, I can't get enough of those giant engines on the rear. It really reminds me a lot of the Drake Herald. I think performance is going to be the biggest area of discussion on this ship. The ship comes stock with all size 1 components, so I think that's going to be one of the heavier limiting factors for this ship. Although it does come with 2 shield generators and 2 power plants, so that does help out a little bit here. For weapons, the ship is going to come stock with 4 size 3 guns that put out a total of 1,330 DPS, and that's just at stock. Those can obviously be swapped out for other guns. In addition to that, the ship has 3 size 3 missiles, 4 size 2 missiles, and 12 size 1 missiles that put out a total of 30,776 damage. With those guns and missiles, this ship is going to be able to put a little bit of damage into the enemy, but it's not going to do well against tankier targets or multiple targets. If you have heavier targets or a swarm of them, the ship isn't going to last long. On the defensive side, it only has 26,350 hull HP, along with 3,600 armor HP, and a total bubble shield of 3,960 HP. So to me, in reality, the weapons are really going to be there as a last-ditch effort to survive. Now, it is able to run low-risk bounties without an issue, and you'll see in the video here I only use 2 of the 4 guns. I just hate having the pips spread apart and always try and avoid it, so I just used the 2 Gatling guns. Even with that, I still managed to take out these ships without a problem on a low-risk bounty. For the flight performance, the ship has some decent speed, but it may leave some to be desired. It has a SCM speed of 205 meters a second and a nav speed of 1,000 meters a second. You'll be able to apply some boost, but you won't be outrunning any fighters in this ship. The pitch, yaw, and roll is coming in at 38, 38, and 125 degrees per second, which when you're flying the ship doesn't feel bad for its size at all, but it's not going to give you any sort of an edge in combat, especially if you happen to find yourself in some sort of PvP situation. Lastly, the quantum drive is worth bringing up. If we take a long jump as an example, let's look at the Nyx gateway to the Terra gateway. That's 120 GM. The stock drive is capable of doing that jump in 14 minutes and 48 seconds with an absolute max range of 212 GM at 25 minutes and 55 seconds. If you swap the drive to an Atlas, it'll take that same 120 GM jump down to just 8 minutes and 58 seconds. So that's saving you about 6 minutes. On the other side of that though, that takes your max range all the way down to 121 GM. Now you could find a drive somewhere in between, but I just wanted to take a look at the two sides of the ship here. Now let's talk cargo. This ship comes with a cargo grid that is capable of holding 12 SCU, and it's arranged in a 2x2x3 configuration. The limiting factor here on this ship is the ramp entrance. The largest box you'll be able to fit in is a 2 SCU box. Unfortunately, that means a lot of the decent cargo contracts out there are out the window, since many of them are a 4 SCU max box size. Trust me, I've tried. You're not going to get a 4 SCU box in this ship. One thing to point out that I do love about the ship's cargo area, since it's at the front, it's super easy to pull right up to an elevator instead of trying to judge the rear of your ship or use third person to really see how close you are. When you're loading up your boxes, they'll fit through the elevator if you happen to still have it down, but just to avoid any potential snags, I always just send it up to be safe. At the end of the day, my thoughts on this ship are a little bit mixed. Maybe it's partly because I'm a Drake fan and I love the design of the ship and I do find it fun to fly. At the same time though, it is a jack of all trades approach and it is sacrificing too much in my opinion. The ship isn't going to hold up well in combat and its cargo carrying ability is minimal with very massive restrictions on the box sizes. The ship would work well as a bunker runner with its medical bed and future crafting ability. It's hard to recommend this ship though when there are other similarly priced ships that do these things better, especially when we can get the ability to place a crafting bench on a cargo grid sometime down the line. In the game's current state, it's really hard to recommend the Clipper over something like a Cutlass Red that holds the same amount of cargo, comes with 2 tier 3 medical beds. Not to mention, for the same price, you could also begin looking at something more along the lines of a Freelancer Max, which can hold a medical Ursa that'll give you your tier 3 medical bed, as well as the future ability to place the crafting bench on the cargo grid. And in that situation, to top it all off, you're getting larger components, more fuel, better shields, better health. It's just a lot to consider when you're looking at a ship in this price range. Ultimately, to me, this feels like a premium starter ship that can get someone into pretty much anything, but not do great at it. The moment you have other ships, I think this one starts to become a little bit obsolete in a fleet. I think it's a really cool ship, but it's hard to justify keeping just based on the price. I currently still have one, but I'm debating on upgrading it to something else. I have many other ships that I pull out more regularly, and this just has overlap with all of my other ships. This one may be more of an in-game purchase to me. What are your thoughts on this ship? I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like so I can kind of get an idea of what videos are working for you, or maybe which ones are not, and I can start looking at how to improve. But that's going to be all for me for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the verse.